Alright guys, Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons, and what I've got for you today is a reaction / analysis to Wagakki. You can see my first ever time hearing them with the eye that will be up there, but this is them performing Bring Me to Life with Amy Lee of Evanescence. There's a few other of their tunes I've got in the pipeline that I'm checking out, but this one I thought, because it's a song that I already know, it will be interesting to kind of see what their take on it is. In particular, I remember either watching or reading an interview with, I think it was Amy Lee or Evanescence, and I didn't know this for the longest time, but the rapper that they have in the song that kind of does the can't wake up kind of call and response type bits, it wasn't part of the band, and the label just kind of made them put a rapper in the song so they could market it as like a new metal song. So I think it was on the Ben Affleck Daredevil film from way back when. I think it was on the soundtrack for that, and personally I think it's generally a good addition to the song. I think there's a kind of nice gap where the kind of the hook that the rapper came up with in the chorus, I think it just works really well. But I have seen clips of them do it live where they don't do that. But because there's so many members in this band, I am interested to see if they maybe do like a gang vocal there, or if they do a harmony, or if they just miss it out entirely. And I'm also just intrigued to see what indeed they do with the song. And just before we get into it, as always, I want to give a huge shout out and a massive thank you to the ever awesome Rabbi Rabs, Matt Hortzman, Glenn Kelly, Stephen Williams, and Rebecca Hay. Cheers guys. And if you like what I'm doing here, want to show support, or have a specific request of something you think I should check out, hit up patreon.com/JBF Music. But too much from me as per usual, let's get into this. Oh nice, okay. Ooh. Now, very nice. Okay, this is a warning. If you're new to this channel, I kind of pause and I talk about stuff as I go quite a bit. So if you want to watch the original, this probably isn't for you. Got that out of the way. There's a lot of things that are really cool happening here. I recently watched a documentary on Netflix about kabuki theatre, and there's lots of those kind of percussive sounds in it. And I don't know what the instrument is, but it's a sound that I recognise from kind of like animes and stuff, often to kind of signify danger in shows. So I don't know if there's a cultural relevance there. But that was just a really beautiful intro, much more kind of traditional, and there's just some really cool layering going on, so I'm going to pop it back and break that down a wee bit. So that's what I was talking about there, those wooden blocks. So as well as what I'm assuming is the koto kind of playing underneath and her vocal, you can hear there's the violin notes being sustained very quietly in the background, and it sounds like there's either a vocal or a woodwind instrument kind of doing this note as well. Right, turn it up a wee bit as well so I can hear things a bit more clearly. Yeah, it would be the shakuhachi coming in there. Oh nice. And they've adjusted the melody, like the piano part. Great vocals, both of them. A lovely harmony. Okay. They're doing a really good job on the backing as well. Nice. Using a bit of fry in his vocals for the distortion. Lovely mix. Sounds huge. That's awesome. Okay, right. So there's a certain timbre that the guitar has in that part of the song when it just breaks down to it. And that was a brilliant substitute. Instead of having the guitar do the did it, have it on the, what is it? I know what this is. You guys told me what it was. It begins with an S, and I went down a little YouTube voyage of checking out people playing this because I think it's got a really cool sound. That was brilliant. And a pinch harmonic from the guitar there as well. And that instrument's now coming. Did it. The right hand side here. I like how dense it is. You can still hear everything well. Brilliant pause coming into the chorus too. Guitar really filling out the sound in the chorus with a big distortion on it. Really cool. The voices are melding well nicely too. It's just going mad, isn't he, on the shakuhachi there? A lot going on in terms of the layering. And this bit with the overlapping vocals, it's cool they can, yeah, just do it live. So the rap, what's going to happen? Nice one. So he's rapping and playing guitar at the same time, which can't be easy. And doing his growls. A good one. Yeah, this is brilliant. Loving this. It managed to capture kind of epic grandioseness to the song that I don't think is quite there in the original. This just sounds bigger. Really tight with the harmonies as well. Beautiful vibrato going on in the vocals. Nice big outro on the strings here. Cool. Is that what's that drum called? Begins with a T. Takio, is it something like that? Correct me, please correct me. That was great. It was a really rendition of that. A really great rendition of that song. To some extent, I think that might be. I don't want to say better because it's a subjective thing, but I think that version of the song probably is more true to what the song was maybe intended to be than the original release. And that's just from my perspective, because when a cover version of a song brings out something that wasn't quite there in the original, I suppose, you know, the classic examples like All Along the Watchtower, something like that. For me, it's like, although it's not the original version, it's almost like, what's the word, like the quintessential kind of, like that's the go-to. I think that kind of did that for me there. It kind of added a new dimension to the song that previously hadn't. It was kind of a angsty new metal with kind of slightly like operatic vocals before, but here it's kind of, I don't know, just changed the context. So because of the amount of instruments going on, I'm really spoilt for choice in terms of what to break down. So I'm going to have another listen through and see what interesting concepts kind of pop out to me. Okay, so I've got a bit queued up here that I really quite liked. The guitar is basically kind of chugging on like an E power chord. That kind of thing. And there's a really cool fill happening on the shakuhachi here, right? Very haunting. Do 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 do. So the notes are something like But what I quite like about stuff like this is it can really broaden your horizons as a musician. It doesn't really matter what you play. In this case, I'm using guitar as an example. So instead of listening exclusively to the guitar and, you know, playing that, you can pick out what other instruments are doing and try to sort of learn from that. So someone that made a career out of doing that would be Marty Friedman, probably best known from his work with Megadeth. I've done quite a lot of stuff on him, so I'll link to it with the eye up there. But you can use kind of pre-bends and stuff like that to imitate the texture a bit more. So I'm going to try and get as close to how it's played here as I can, but using the guitar, right? So I'll show you the process. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of try and modify my tone a bit. So this is a little bit harsh. So I'm on my bridge pickup. I'm going to go to my neck pickup, which will be a bit smoother. roll my tone down so it's a bit smoother again, and maybe a bit less gain. So I'm a bit closer now in terms of the timbre, but there's articulations that they're using that I can at least try to replicate a little bit, okay? I'm not too sure what the first note is. I think it's one of those. Cool. And if you listen to this, it's kind of, instead of it just being just like this, you call it an akiakatura. It's like a note decoration. I think there's even one from the first. I think there's one there as well. You need to find out what the first note is as well, because that's throwing me off. So the way I'm kind of hearing this so far is, well, I can't do the same things that a flute can do in terms of the, you know, the note decorations. I can do similar stuff on guitar. So if you want the notes, what I'm basically playing is at 10th fret, which I might be mistaken about, on the D. Then the basic melody is 10 to 12 on the B, then 10 down to 9 on the G. But if we want to add in these note decorations, so I'm sliding quickly into the 10th fret on the B from the 8th fret. So instead of it just being, you hear there's a slight difference. Steve Vai, another player that does this quite a lot, and I think he takes a lot of ideas from, you know, various kind of folk musics from around the world. So we got that. And I'm just going to hammer that on as well here, so it sounds a bit smoother. For here, you could slide down from the 12 to the 10 on the G, but I'm preferring to pull off. So I'm hitting the 12th fret and pulling off very quickly to the 10th, and then sliding down again. I'm trying to use legato techniques. So legato is a fancy way of saying, guitarists have kind of appropriated the phrase, but not picking every note. If you pick everything, oops. It's quite aggressive if you kind of don't pick notes and use things like hammers on, so you pick the note once and hammer, or pull off, or slide, or whatever. You can get a much more kind of fluid sound, which is what I'm trying to imitate. I'm still thinking about the timbre as well, like how the notes are played. And then there's a little at the end. So if you have enough sustain, you can probably just hold that and slide. I'm probably going to have to hit the note again. If you hit it softly, you can kind of get that. You could hammer on and pull off, but I find sliding to be a bit smoother. If I had my whammy bar put in, I would also consider, if I got it locked off just now, yeah I do. If I had you can get a whammy bar that, like, all the Van Halen elephant noises and stuff, that's how you get them. It basically bends the pitch of the strings, and it can do it in a slightly more vocal way too. So if you have your bar in, I'd experiment with doing little bar dips, particularly over there, and kind of bending up to the note because it'll sound a bit more vocal. You can get a kind of rough idea of stuff you can do in that regard with the video up there. I'll link to a kind of more in-depth thing. But in terms of our theory, we've got like an E minor chord and what's being played over it. It's like an E Phrygian is kind of what we'd think of it in terms of the mode, the scale, the notes that we're playing in the West. But I think this might be called, I used to think it was called the Hirajoshi scale, but I think this is actually the Sakura scale. I think I just had got a wrong version of it years ago and kind of mislearned it. So if we're playing an octave of it here, I think we'd have... So it's a very kind of haunting, very kind of beautiful scale. And again, I'd mentioned Marty Friedman from Megadeth. He does this thing of blending this kind of Phrygian sound with Phrygian dominant, and also this what I think is called the Sakura scale very effectively. So again, I will link to examples of him doing that with the eye up there. But if you want that scale to play around with, so this would be in... This one might actually technically be in B rather than E, but we're basically on the D fret, the D string, 9th fret to 10. Same on the G, 9 to 10. Then we're going up to 10th fret on the B, up to 12. So it's a partial scale, in that it doesn't use notes. It's more akin to like a pentatonic or something like that, where we use less notes. And if you want a further dive into this scale, if I've got any cards left, I will link to it up there, because you can get some really quite cool, kind of beautiful and interesting sounds from it. Which aren't particularly prevalent in a lot of Western music, but just has a definite vibe to it, you know. Yeah, on Patreon, if you got something specifically you'd like me to check out. As ever, just a huge thank you for watching, leaving comments and likes, it's all really appreciated. You can hit subscribe if you want to keep up to date with the channel, check out other videos, but cheers guys, and have a good one.